There have been times in history when science, in which the silence grows louder than any other explosion. One of these is this. Among them, it wasn't a dying asteroid, star, or a newly formed galaxy that caused the warning. The silence was itself. The orbiting James Webb Space Telescope, observing the universe from 1 million miles away. Deeper into space than any other before, the human-made instrument was prior observation of a space region thought to be empty to the core. Just a dead space between galaxies, an omission from the cosmic map. What then? It's broken. It was discovered there, an assumption. The quietest section of the cosmos, a shadow was seen by the telescope that was neither illuminating nor reflecting it. It was devouring it. After that, something even more bizarre transpired. That darkness moved slowly, deliberately, as if it was aware we were observing. What the telescope recorded after that compelled a group of cosmologists, astrophysicists, and scientists to abandon established models of reality altogether. Because of this, there is no black hole, pulsar, or comet. This was something else. Something that thinks, something that reacts, and perhaps something that remembers. This is the narrative of what James Webb found hidden in the depths. An end goal so frightful in its behavior and so out of place in its physics that researchers have started whispering the unimaginable. What if it is not at all a part of our universe? Music, all of it, started with a deep field survey near the vast Eridanus supervoid, a space that is almost mythic and famous for its enigmatic cold spots and peculiar low density of galaxies, while calibrating infrared sensors for a galaxy mapping project. James Webb's telescope picked up a too-symmetrical anomaly to be natural but chaotic enough to be artificial. Instead of seeing distant interstellar gas or galaxies, the telescope detected a perfect circle of silence. It didn't let any light out. No light curved around it. This was not lensing due to gravity. It was more or less an omission from the fabric of the universe itself. Picture dropping ink into a still glass of water and watching, instead, the water vanish. That is what the data demonstrated. Not just a void of matter, but a void of physical law. The initial hypotheses suggested that it might be a previously unknown type of black hole. But the mass calculations didn't add up. There was no radiation or X-ray emission, merely a cold, gloomy, gravitational ripple. A region of utter stillness that made no sense at all. After that, over a number of days, the perimeter of that object started to change, not like a celestial body in orbit, but like something breathing. Music researchers from a variety of institutions started looking into the light echoes encircling the anomaly. What they discovered was more alarming than any black hole or supernova could ever be. The flickers of distorted light that rippled away from the object were not random. They followed a precise sequence, intervals that corresponded with prime numbers, first 2, then 3, 5, 7, 11. As if the object wasn't just existing, it was signaling. But signaling to what or whom? Additionally, this signal was not electromagnetic. There was no radio, gamma, infrared, or any other known wave. Space-time was disrupted as a result. The largest Webb telescope's sensitive gyroscopes recorded microscopic shifts that coincided with each signal's explosion. It's like something was nudging the structure of reality on a foundational level. It wasn't just breaking the rules of astrophysics. It mocked them. Researchers and math were brought in. Quantum physicists pored over the data. What do you think? These were not organic pulses, but the fingerprints of intention. No known stellar object behaves this way. Not quasars, rogue planets, nor matter clumps. The precision was surgical, the rhythm distinctly fabricated, and some considered that it might not be a sign of something alive, but something aware. Music, the unexpected event, then occurred. In a follow-up inspection carried out precisely 27 days after the first, the James Webb team discovered a displacement. The object, once thought to remain stationary, shifted, and not through space, but through dimensions. It didn't drift like a comet or speed up like a ship, seemed to blink, a flash that moves from one place to another. It's as if gliding through the fabric of the universe, not moving through it. It came back just 0.004 off from its original position, an imperceptible fraction to the human eye, but catastrophic to the calculations of scientists. Because anything that can move away from itself without leaving a trail indicates that it is unconstrained by the speed of light. It means it's not bound by time. The only known resemblance to this type of behavior is in quantum theory, entangled particles reacting instantly over great distances. But this wasn't subatomic. A structure the size of a small moon was acting, as though the rules of traditional physics were merely a suggestion. When astrophysicists found when they simulated the movement something even more unnerving. The pattern of its reappearances resulted in a spiral pointing toward Earth from inside. After 4 months of investigation, the team no longer questioned whether the object posed a threat. They wanted to know if it had thought. Geometric designs around the anomaly began to form into fractal formations, shapes that repeat themselves, and echo biological structures, not bones or organs, but neural pathways. The longer the telescope stared, the more the patterns changed to fit the orientation and correction by sensors themselves in real time. Almost like it was adjusting to being observed. A chilling term was developed by scientists for this behavior. The geometry that responds. Some even hinted that the object might be a kind of dimensional antenna, or worse, a constructed living thing that doesn't move, but maintains its position while waiting for a purpose. A trained AI model to simulate the recognition of alien patterns. When fed the data from the telescope, looped, froze, and eventually, not a single word in its error record was recognized. Despite the message's clarity, no one dared say it aloud. This isn't a discovery. It's a response. After weeks of capturing more data, the Webb team noticed a curious phenomenon. Not in the item itself, but in the field surrounding it. An overall radiation shift, almost imperceptible at first, started to appear, posed to cosmic microwave. Background or localized bursts of stars' radiation, this signal was strangely in sync with the object's pulses. But they slowed down as if we were experiencing an echo. Analysis of the spectrum confirms something chilling. The message contained harmonic layers that weren't supposed to be present. Frequencies arranged not by random emission, but interspersed, resembling musical chords. Some scientists began calling it the Song of the Void, but others weren't as poetic. A signal like this, they said, is almost impossible to manufacture without a deliberate mechanism behind it. Not a chaotic star formation, but an engineered pattern. Even more troubling, harmonics in the waveform were not stable. They had a slight reaction to Webb's shifts in position. This resulted in a frightening hypothesis. There was no passive signal. It was interactive. It was watching, measuring, echoing back as if the goal was more than just broadcasting. Well, it was observing. Despite the increasing panic behind the scenes, a collection of conceptual mathematicians was brought in to look at the pulse's numerical structure. And that's when everything changed. Hidden in the timing of the signal sequence was a mathematical concept embedded in a constant that doesn't naturally occur in known events in the universe, the prime number spiral. A set of prime numbers arranged in a spiral design that has long baffled theorists about its strange connection to nature. Here, it was precisely repeated at intervals between the anomaly's distortions. It was thought by some scientists to be a universal language, a kind of mathematical Rosetta Stone, or even worse, an identifier. If that was a signature placed by someone or something, it would indicate that they comprehended the underlying structures of our reality. Then what followed drove even more fear. When the order was formed into a three-dimensional graph, was a complex helix, almost identical to the double helix of human DNA. Coincidence? Perhaps. Yet, when scientists analyzed the numbers, they realized the timing intervals in the pulses matched genetic codons used in our own biochemistry. There wasn't just something watching. Someone knew what it was looking at and may have known us before we ever viewed it. When that occurred, everything began to quiet. Web data, that is freely. Accessible streams experienced a sudden delay. Access logs from research observatories began disappearing, and key scientists involved in the study of anomalies began resigning from their positions. Press releases from the involved agencies changed their tone, once filled with enthusiasm and transparency. They became bureaucratic, evasive, and vague. Several international space agencies, such as NASA, the European Space Agency, and even private entities like Blue Origin and SpaceX, were compelled to withdraw into impromptu meetings. Not because the object posed an immediate threat, but because no one could verify that it was not already present. There were a lot of theories. Was this some kind of probe? A sentry? A warning beacon? The moment it was found was frightening by itself. It appeared only after we had developed the instruments capable of seeing it, meaning it had either always been there or it had waited until we were fully prepared. But possibly, this was the most worrying aspect. Deep space probes launched decades ago, like Voyager and New Horizons, were long gone, close to this area without finding a thing. This indicates that the object is either cloaked from conventional instruments or it wasn't there before. Music as usual. The final act occurs silently. On day 48 of the targeted Webb observation, prior to the telescope being scheduled to switch to another area in space, the hallmark of the anomaly disappeared. There were no pulses, no distortions, just static. However, before that silence settled in, Webb sensors captured one final image, a composite in infrared light, unlike anything previously seen. It was not a shadow. There was no distortion. It was a shape, symmetrical, angular, perfectly proportioned, resembling an inverted sigil in space. It also lasted only 3 frames, too short for complete decoding. But fabricated intelligence analysis proved the structure was not haphazard. It was geometric, made up of interconnected triangles, lines, and circles that form a recursive pattern. And then it vanished. Since then, nothing has returned, yet the data persists. The silence remains. And perhaps most terrifying of all, the possibility remains that whatever this was, whatever is out there, didn't leave. Simply, it stopped allowing us to see it. So what did James Webb really see out there? A silent watcher in the cosmic dark. A signal meant for those advanced enough, or inconsiderate to notice. Or maybe just a glitch in reality that we were never meant to decipher. The terrifying truth is this: the more we dig, the more the void seems to respond. What we used to think was a blank canvas is beginning to appear to be a mirror. And possibly, just maybe, something on the other side has finally seen us looking back. This space is no longer relevant to discovery. It concerns what we are unable to understand. It concerns the possibility that we've started a discussion with a mind that does not make use of language, but rather rhythm, geometry, and silence. The worst part is that we continue to not know whether it is attempting to communicate or to warn us. There is one certainty. James Webb didn't just capture data, it unlocked a door. And what lies in wait behind it may rewrite everything we thought. We knew not just about the universe, but concerning ourselves. If this story made you question what's out there and what might already be keeping an eye on us, don't forget to subscribe to get more videos like this one, Frightening Discoveries, and sound the bell icon so that you never miss when, once more, the universe breaks its silence. It's not a science fiction story anymore. It's a science reacting.